This BBC podcast is supported by ads outside the UK.
True crime meets history with a twist in a new series of Lady Killers. Join me as we travel back in time to investigate the most astonishing lady killers of the 19th and 20th centuries. We visit the scene of the crime and we delve deep into their lives to ask, how did they do it? Why did they do it? What drove them to it? Watch Lady Killers with Lucy Worsley on bbc.com.
It all starts with a subscription to bbc.com. Find out more at bbc.com/unlimited.
I am Nina Khrushcheva, the great-granddaughter of Nikita Khrushchev, the leader of the Soviet Union in 1962.
And I'm Max Kennedy, the nephew of U.S. President John F. Kennedy. We explore what was a terrifying moment in history.
The story of the Cuban Missile Crisis.
How close the world came to nuclear war.
And what they had to do to pull it back from the brink.
The bomb, Kennedy and Khrushchev.
All episodes available now, wherever you get your BBC podcasts.
the French diminutive meaning Little Antoine. And in the end, that's the name that stuck.
It's cute.
Yeah, they do that in Spain as well. They have a little diminutive name.
They're all called Maria. I feel like that's 16 kids. Come on.
No, well, the boys weren't called Maria.
Okay.
What were they called? Franz.
Leopold, Joseph.
Good
solid
Austrian names for going to war.
And so she grew up in Vienna.
She grew up in Vienna.
Right, so there's fact numero uno that I did not know. I thought Marie Antoinette was French. So that's quite embarrassing.
So we have a princess, we have an archduchess. You can presumably guess what her future is going to be, Jen, in terms of what mother is planning for her.
Yes, so I imagine she's planning a very prestigious marriage into a very prestigious court in France.
Yeah, bang on. I mean, that's the plan, right?
Absolutely, got it in one.
Yeah. So we're minutes into the episode, already wedding bells. We're talking about a little girl here.
Yes, we are.
Oh, wait a second, hang on, rewind. I was talking about in the future.
No.
That she had been betrothed as a child.
She is betrothed as a child. Maria Theresa's plan is for her to marry the French King Louis XV's grandson, who's also called Louis. We've got all the girls in Austria called Maria and all the boys in France called Louis. Little Louis's father has died and he becomes heir to the throne in France, who's known as the Dauphin. And at that point, Maria Theresa decides that this is going to be a great way of reinforcing this new alliance between the age-old enemies, Austria and France. Louis is only a year older than Antoinette, but that's considered good because they're quite close in age. But he's described as a lanky, silent, nervous lad.
Okay.
So
aren't all boys lanky?
It's quite a standard boy, that isn't a teenage boy.
Is it quite usual then to get married before they're 16, or is it? Oh, it is.
It is normal, yes.
For average people, no, but for princes, for dynastic
But for
marriages,
royalty.
yeah.
So she has got to that point now at the age of 13. She's going to now move away from her home in the Vienna court to go to Paris to live with her new husband, who is 14.
She's sent off to France aged 14, so cue the problematic marriage klaxon, which we unfortunately have to honk a lot on this show. And so when she arrives in France, what are you imagining? Are you thinking Harry and Meghan? Is it Kate and Wills? What's the vibe? Is it fun? Are people happy?
Those are the only two options you have.
Those are the only two
That's
options.
all you got.
OK, I'm going to sidestep comparing the wedding to either. She arrives in May 1770 and meets King Louis XV at Compiègne. She's then introduced to young Louis, her future husband, and the extended family. And 2 days later, the 16th of May, the pair were married at Versailles and she became Dauphine of France.
That's not the end of it, because, Jen, on the wedding night, things get awkward. Do you know why? Why would it be awkward for the new married couple?
Well, they don't know what they're doing.
Not just that. They don't know what they're doing with an audience.
Why does it... Oh, so they have to make sure that she's...
There's a going-to-bed ceremony.
Oh, come on. It's hard. I mean, we've all... remember our first time. Can you imagine with an audience? Anything worse?
Kate, talk us through it.
So, the Archbishop blesses the bed.
That's definitely going to get you in the mood.
That's really going to get you in the mood. Louis XV then hands the Dauphin his nightshirt. So the grandfather is there offering advice. They then have to lie down in front of the king and the entire court to prove that they have shared the same bed.
The king's advice, was it useful, Kate? Did Louis rise to the occasion, so to speak?
Louis did not rise to the occasion. The marriage was unconsummated for 7 years.
Aha, quelle surprise. Is he gay?
Or traumatised?
He could be traumatised.
Right.
There's a lot of discussion over why was the marriage not consummated
7
for
years
so
is
long.
a long time.
We don't know if it was personal hesitation, whether it was health related.
Maybe some things are just best lost to history. We don't know why. 7 years, we'll just sort of write that off. OK, so with the unconsummated marriage already proving an issue, in 1774, so this was still 4 years into their not sleeping together problem, suddenly Louis was the King of France, because Louis XV died, making Marie Antoinette the Queen of France. So she was 19, just about?
Just about 19.
OK,
yeah.
just turned 19. So the age at which we would normally maybe go to university or maybe get your first job. Her first job, Queen.
Yeah, that's a lot.
What's the first thing she does, Kate, in terms of court politics? How does it go?
Not perhaps as well as it might have done.
OK.
This is a running thing.
I mean, they're both still very young.
Yeah.
They're very inexperienced. She has nothing to do because the marriage isn't consummated, she's not going to get pregnant, and therefore her sole reason for being at court can't exist. So she fills her time with gambling, with balls, with going incognito into Paris, to balls, to the theatre. She gathers around her a group of young people nearer her own age.
Right.
She's not interested in being polite to the older members of court. She hates the really strict etiquette of court, so she does all she can to sort of sidestep that. She'd rather have a little bit of privacy. She doesn't want to spend all her time in the public eye. And really, she carries on living the life she'd lived whilst she was the wife of the heir to France, rather than changing her behaviour once she's become queen.
So, Jen, how do you think she's doing on ratemymonarch.com? Do you think the people of France are pleased about their new queen?
I'm guessing the people of France, and they are very vocal as a people, are not at all happy with their new queen, who appears to be just having a big old jolly and ignoring the needs and wants of the people, particularly the working people of Paris, and of France, rather. So
Yeah.
I would imagine there's a lot of resentment and anger building.
The problems that will later arise in the French Revolution, they're already there, right?
They are already there, yes.
Yeah, okay. Jen, how would you turn things around if you were Marie Antoinette? What's your policy to get people to love you?
Well, I would think I would do something for the people and make a really big gesture that was like, you know, oh, guys, I've got this great big party and I'm going to put it on for you because I love you and I really want you to know that I care about you.
So you'd say, let them eat cake.
I would say, guys, I'm really sorry that you're in poverty, but have you had jelly and ice cream before?
Kate, she does the most important thing, of course, she produces an heir. That is what matters.
That's really what
she
makes a
does.
difference. She does,
Yeah.
finally. She has a daughter, Marie-Thérèse Charlotte, born in 1778.
Another Marie. Yeah.
Another Marie. She has Louis Joseph in 1781. So he will die aged 7 just before the start.
He was the Dauphin.
He was the Dauphin.
Yeah.
He dies just before the start of the French Revolution in 1789. Louis Charles, who is born in 1785, and Sophie Hélène Béatrice in 1786, who dies aged 1. So she has 4 children, 2 of whom will die in her lifetime. It did help her popularity, but because of the gap between the marriage and the first child being born, there are a huge number of rumours about who the father of each of these children is.
Okay, Kate, here's my question, because as a historical figure that I certainly don't know a great deal about, what I do know about her is that it's very two-dimensional and she has been given a really hard rap. Are there any redeeming qualities to Marie Antoinette, other than that she's a party girl, that is very self-involved, suffered a lot of losses as a mother? Anything else going on for her that we can give her a little bit of cheerleading for?
OK, we can certainly try. How about her being an important figure in the patronage of arts and culture?
OK.
So particularly decorative arts and music. She uses her influence to move public tastes to a more modern, cosmopolitan style of music. She sets the agenda in the theatre. She certainly sets the agenda when we come to fashion as well.
And what about politics?
So the way that the French court had developed over the 18th century was that the mistress of the king was the one who had the king's ear and could be the one to sort of get favours and advantages from. Because Louis isn't interested in taking a mistress, people expect Marie Antoinette to gain them favours. But she has a very fine line to tread because she can't be seen to be
Overstepping
her mark, exactly. Her role as consort, her role is to bear children. So she's in a slightly awkward position and accused of meddling because there isn't anyone else to take the flak. So she's effectively queen and mistress because she has the king's ear.
Yeah.
So it's all concentrated down onto her.
We need to talk about Marie Antoinette and fashion. She's renowned for it. There's a new exhibition coming to the V&A Museum soon about her sort of amazing clothes. Jen, do you know how many new dresses she ordered per year from her favourite dressmaker?
Oh, I'm imagining in their hundreds.
Yeah, it was 300.
300 a year?
300 a year, brand new dresses.
So that's almost a new dress for every single day.
Yeah. Can you tell us more about fashion and Marie Antoinette's sort of role within it?
One of the things that lots of people know about Marie Antoinette is her extravagant clothing. She was accused at the time of spending too much money on dresses, although, in her defence, she is supposed to be promoting the superiority of French culture. She represents the nation and is keeping dozens, if not hundreds of people employed as a result of being the face of France in that sense. But again, Marie Antoinette finds herself criticised, devil you do, devil you don't. She's criticised for spending too much on over-the-top outfits, but then she's also criticised when she tries wearing simpler clothes. So there's a really famous dress that's called the chemise à la reine, which was made out of white muslin rather than French silk. And it's seen by the standards of the time as a really casual garment. The formal French court dresses, you've got the tight corsets, you've got the giant skirts. This is much, much looser. It's a sort of neoclassical, we're heading towards Jane Austen sort of style.
It's almost a slip, isn't it?
It's almost a slip. It looks like an underdress.
Well, it must have looked completely bananas when you compare it to what everyone else was wearing. They must have thought, are you wearing your nightdress?
It was, exactly.
Yeah. And meanwhile, another huge scandal breaks out, this one involving a very famous necklace. It's called the Diamond Necklace Affair. What happens?
A con artist tries to persuade the former French ambassador to Vienna to buy a necklace to get him back into Marie Antoinette's favour. This is a necklace that Louis XV had ordered for his mistress but never bought, and Marie Antoinette had turned it down. The former French ambassador Rohan thought that it was a good way of getting back in the Queen's good books, buys it, and then finds that he's been completely duped by the con artist who's taken the jewels and done a runner.
Yeah, and he's hired an actress to perform as the Queen, right? So there's a sort of con in there. It's and poor Marie Antoinette's sort of left going, hang on, what? I've never even heard of this guy.
Yeah, the Queen, Rohan thought that he was meeting the Queen when he was actually meeting a look-alike sex worker.
Right.
And everyone believed that was entirely plausible that he might meet the Queen in the gardens of Versailles at night. And therefore nobody thought that was anything out of the ordinary. So far had her reputation slumped by then.
Oh, dear.
That is the irony, is that she never wanted them. She thought they were an inappropriate amount of money to be spent, and she still got completely hung out to dry.
Yeah, story of her life.
So here's where I think maybe she's getting a hard rap. Because it doesn't sound to me that within the world that she lives in that sort of aristocratic sphere, that she is working particularly outside of that in terms of luxury, spending a huge amount of money on clothing. It all seems to be fitting in within the parameters of what is expected of a queen. Why does she get such a hard rap from the French people?
I think that the key to the answer to that question is that it's not initially the French people, it's those at court that she's alienating, because she doesn't want to be with any of the old guard. She wants to be with young people. And there's a very substantial group who are anti-Austrian.
So she's still foreign, she's not politically astute enough, and she's been made a patsy for this sort of diamond heist. And we start getting much more aggressive attacks on her in the media. These are forms of attack against Marie Antoinette that are designed to humiliate her, to scandalise her. She's cheating on the king, she can't be trusted, all of those things.
All of the above.
Yeah.
From the early 1770s onwards, she's accused of nighttime sexual encounters in the palace gardens. From before she's even queen, they become increasingly pornographic throughout the 1780s. She's frequently depicted in lesbian relationships with her friends. She's often shown with Louis's younger brother, the Comte d'Artois. Oh. They're trying to destroy her reputation, and with it, the reputation of the French monarchy.
I mean, this all happens now to women, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. I mean, the misogyny's off the scale. And how effective was it? Because, I mean, this sort of stuff works.
Yeah.
It really works.
The king tries to have copies seized and burnt, but it's very hard. You can't control all print outlets, and
also you don't need many of them.
You only need one to survive.
Yeah. But she was cheating on the king, we believe. What was the name of the real lover?
So the love of her life was a Swedish officer called Axel von Fersen.
That is quite a hot name, actually.
It's a hot name, isn't it?
Von Fersen,
immediately in my head, I'm just seeing a kind of Swede in a kind of chemise shirt, just being like, hello.
I think the jury is still out as to how far they went.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I think now most people will say she probably did have a physical relationship with him.
He's the kind of the fancy man, but all these other kind of rumours and scandals are
false.
Are false and designed to destroy her. So you've got this kind of real rising anti-monarchist. The movement is growing bigger and bigger against the monarchy, but also personally against Marie Antoinette. So, Kate, obviously Marie Antoinette's political career is in the context of what will become the French Revolution, which is caused by many factors, but what do we need to know?
The state was left virtually bankrupt after supporting the American War of Independence. Louis XVI called a meeting of the Estates General to ask for permission to raise emergency funds, but instead they declared themselves a National Assembly, and the people of Paris, worried that the king will suppress this new assembly, stormed the state prison, the Bastille, on the 14th of July 1789, and that marks the beginning of what we now call the French Revolution.
But the obvious upshot is the French Revolution comes to the palace, and what happens to Marie Antoinette and her family and her husband?
In October 1789, a group of women marched to Versailles demanding bread and the king. At this point, the people of Paris still think that the king can save them. They're starving. The king has been misled by his courtiers over in Versailles. Bring him back to Paris and all will be well. They're relocated to the Tuileries Palace in Paris, and over the next 2 years face increasing demands for constitutional reform. So the revolutionaries are trying to make a constitutional monarchy along the lines of the British system. But Louis is reluctant to sacrifice any of the notion of kingship that he feels he's inherited from Louis XIV. And in the end, on the 20th of June 1791, the royal family try to flee France.
Yeah. We know how this ends. The king is executed first. And then there's this in 1792, isn't it? But
1793, the king was executed.
Sorry, yes, 1793. He's executed first. He's accused of treason. He's found guilty of treason. He is executed. That is an incredibly serious thing. Marie Antoinette, it's not the same day, it's not the same week, and so they clearly have a bit of a kind of pause. So are they debating what to do with her?
There is debate about what to do with her. They consider putting her on trial. They consider sending her into exile. They wonder about exchanging her for political prisoners. I think part of the background to the discussion on what to do with her is the years of propaganda that have made much of her sexual appetites. So in the end, in October 1793, she's given a 2-day show trial, in effect. She's accused of planning a massacre of the National Guards, liaising with foreign enemies, Austria, obviously.
So writing to her brother to say help.
Yeah.
She hasn't behaved brilliantly. She's very, very spoiled and has literally done nothing for the people of France. However, she's not guilty of any of those things. All those people that were putting out all of this stuff about Marie Antoinette and, this kind of like really indulging on how the aristocracy have no morals and have no sort of value system, kind of backfired on all of them because they all got their heads taken, didn't they? Yeah, they were all killed.
More ordinary people are killed during the period of the terror than members of the nobility.
And her children, the 2 surviving children?
The son became Louis XVII on his father's death. Yeah. The king is dead, long live the king. So child became king. He dies shortly afterwards in prison, having been looked after in inverted commas by the revolutionaries.
Sure.
Not a well child. He dies. Marie-Thérèse will survive. She will become the Duchess of Angoulême and will help Louis's younger brother become Louis XVIII. Napoleon famously said of her, she was the only one in the family to wear trousers.
So Marie Antoinette was executed 16th of October 1793. And her last words, rather extraordinarily, do you want to tell us what they were, Kate?
Allegedly.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do we know how much truth there are in actually her words? Allegedly, she said to the executioner, "Pardon me, sir, I did not do it on purpose," after she stepped on his foot.
Oh, that's heartbreaking.
Isn't it? It's really...
That's so heartbreaking.
Yeah. So she was executed. Do you want to guess how old she was at this point on her death?
What are we, 17? I don't know. So she's like young. What is she, 20s?
No,
30s?
37.
Oh, she's just 37.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, extraordinary life. I think, as you said at the beginning of the episode, Jen, a lot of the things we know about her are not true. But actually, a lot of the things that the French people knew about her were not true. It's, she was the victim of scandal and rumour and gossip.
Yeah, and a very deliberate and successful smear campaign, which really undid all of the nobility to a degree and the French court as a whole.
Yeah.
It's weird, isn't it, how the more you learn about these people, the more you give them like a third dimension. I mean, I can see that she's an incredibly flawed human being, but also she was a product of what the court created.
Yeah.
Thank you. I really enjoyed that. I thought it was fascinating.
The Nuance Window!
Well, it's time now for the Nuance Window. My stopwatch is ready. Kate, take it away.
It can be tricky to untangle myth and reality with Marie Antoinette because what we know largely comes from things others wrote about her rather than from her own words. Opinions then and now are contradictory. Was she a monster or a martyr? Was she thoughtless and frivolous or a scheming villain? Was she depraved or a devoted mother? Did she bring down the French monarchy with her extravagance, or is she a proto-feminist influencer and role model? Versailles was a palace of mirrors and multiple reflections. Marie Antoinette reflects back at us our own biases, so to different people she will mean quite different things. It is important, though, to distinguish more clearly between the teenage Marie Antoinette and the person she was 20 years later. Ill-prepared to become queen aged 19, she did end up taking on more political responsibilities when Louis was paralysed by depression and indecision. But the task of modernising the monarchy and solving the economic crisis without impinging on the privileges of the nobility was an impossible one. During the revolution, she tried to save the monarchy, writing a huge number of letters to revolutionaries as well as her brother on the throne in Vienna to try to effect change. She would have seen herself as acting in France's interests, when in fact it's the point in her life when she's most actively working against them, just another of the many contradictions that make up her life. Her most tangible legacy is the impact she had on interior design, one of her most enduring passions. Furniture and objets d'art from this period are usually labelled Louis XVI, but it would be much more accurate to call them Marie Antoinette style, as her interest in fabrics and furniture very much marked the late 18th century. Her taste is now appreciated as elegant and refined, a marketable brand for everything from tea to tote bags. Our collective fascination with her riches to rags story shows no sign at all of fading. And given that powerful women in society are still seen with suspicion, and that tensions between privacy and celebrity have taken on a new urgency in a social media age, Marie Antoinette's life will undoubtedly continue to be relevant and generate debate for years to come.
2 minutes on the dot. Incredible timekeeping.
Yes.
Wow, look at that.
That's
Fantastic.
impressive because I've sped up because I was about 5 seconds over when I practised it yesterday.
Oh, well done, Kate. Thank you so much. I mean, that's fascinating. The idea of the mutability, the fact that she was all things to all people. Really interesting, Jen, isn't it?
Yeah, and also what the parallels about celebrity now, that's, you can see them clearly, especially with like social media, because the printing press existed and I think people were able to get things out so much easier. I mean, it was much easier to augment your celebrity, but it was much easier to pull you down as well.
Exactly.
People will believe what they want to believe.
And still do.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Professor Kate. Thank you, Jen. And listener, if you want more from Jen, we've got episodes on Emma of Normandy. And of course, we did Hernan Cortés and Melintzin. That was very interesting. And for more controversial French queens, listen to our episode on Catherine de Medici. That one was a fun hoot. And remember, if you've enjoyed the podcast, please share the show with your friends. Subscribe to You're Dead to Me on BBC Sounds in the UK to get episodes 28 days early. But I'd just like to say a huge thank you to our guests in History Corner. We had the incredible Professor Katherine Astbury from the University of Warwick. Thank you, Kate.
A pleasure.
And in Comedy Corner, we had the brilliant Jen Brister. Thanks again, Jen.
Oh, what a treat, Greg. Thank you.
And to you, lovely listener, join me next time as we engage in some more historical myth-busting. But for now, I'm off to go and get my hands on my own delicious Swede. Keep it classy, people. I'm talking about the root vegetable. Bye!
That's a good one.
Thank you. You're Dead to Me, the BBC Studios production for BBC Radio 4.
Hi guys, this is Rylan, and I'm here to tell you about How to Be in Love from BBC Sounds. Now, as a single divorcee, I feel ready to find love again, but I want to see if there's a better way of going about it. In this series, I'm going to sit down with 12 incredible guests who are really going to help me rediscover what love truly means and how I can find it again. People like Stephen Fry, Louis Theroux, Matt and Emma Willis, and many more. So join me on this journey as I explore how to be in love. Listen on BBC Sounds.
True crime meets history with a twist in a new series of Lady Killers. Join me as we travel back in time to investigate the most astonishing lady killers of the 19th and 20th centuries. We visit the scene of the crime and we delve deep into their lives to ask, how did they do it? Why did they do it? What drove them to it? Watch Lady Killers with Lucy Worsley on bbc.com.
It all starts with a subscription to bbc.com. Find out more at bbc.com/unlimited.
I am Nina Khrushcheva, the great-granddaughter of Nikita Khrushchev, the leader of the Soviet Union in 1962.
And I'm Max Kennedy, the nephew of U.S. President John F. Kennedy. We explore what was a terrifying moment in history.
The story of the Cuban Missile Crisis.
How close the world came to nuclear war.
And what they had to do to pull it back from the brink.
The bomb, Kennedy and Khrushchev.
All episodes available now, wherever you get your BBC podcasts.